being so long ago.
God not doing anything today. That's right. Has he not blessed you today? And
I'll take my now time. I might not get another one. I take my 1 point.
Yes.
I'll be quiet. I got my control of Debo. I'm talking to you.
Say la. Family, we're so glad that you tuned into this Another Profit and Growth segment where we're going to be talking about lust, and we're going to be talking about whoremongering, and we're going to be talking about lies and deceit and drugs and scandal. And
I see where you're going.
Yeah, you lost me. I came back.
Okay, keep going. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, you all interrupted me.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to set the scene and create the anticipation.
And you yes, go. Continue.
Forget it. That's what we're talking about.
No, we don't. It's over.
I'm going to turn it over to Shar because
wow.
she has some insight and she has some information to be able to share with us concerning Mr. Bishop R. Kelly.
Jesus.
Wow.
Bishop, why you gotta be a bishop? Not to say that Bishop's doing it.
The suspense.
Robert.
Trying to increase viewership. Ratings are going through the roof.
I feel like I have like the key to everything right now. But
that's right.
A lot of you guys know what's going on right now, what's going on Lifetime, Surviving R. Kelly. I was able to read the book that one of the ladies wrote. It's very interesting. It takes you on a roller coaster of emotions because it has you feeling one way towards R. Kelly in disgust and like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that to a woman? But at the same time, you look and see how he made these women feel. And it's like, whoa, well, how could you really be too mad? Because these women almost put themselves in that position and that's where they wanted to be. So, in a sense, the book is anonymous, so everybody's still trying to figure out who exactly wrote the book. But we know for sure she's on the Surviving R. Kelly series. So
who the check may payable to? It ain't payable to anonymous.
If that's the case, my name is
So in this book, she starts off with a letter to R. Kelly, and she's basically it's really a roller coaster reading it because she talks about how much she loves him and how much he taught her into how she is right now, like her becoming a woman and the things that she learned. She gives all credit to R. Kelly. She talks about
sweet.
How the only person
she dedicate that
a little bit. At the beginning, you would think that this wouldn't be a bad book, like she would be on R. Kelly's side. But as you get a little bit further into the book, she starts revealing a lot of different things that he put her through. And one of the most memorable points was when she said she was in the studio and she just couldn't hold it any longer. She told him initially that she was 20 and she just couldn't hold it any longer as he was starting to come on to her a little bit more, telling her that he loved her and that type of thing. And her guilt, something in your heart, you just say, okay, I cannot let this continue. And she was a little nervous to see like whether he would feel some type of way or, treat her differently if he found out the truth. But they sat down in the studio and she said, I have to tell you something. She said, I'm only 16. And his response was, I know everything that I needed to know about you. And the conversation kind of shifts into where they go from here. And he makes all the girls call him daddy. That's all
the girls.
There's
we
multiple.
went from singular to plural.
So the book is about one particular girl and her story, but she also talks about the existence of other girls. And that's what kind of put a ledge into a space in between her and the other girls because she wasn't one that could just give her soul away. She talked about one sense in the book where she would be around the girls when she first moved into the house. Eventually she moved out of the house with her Nana and her Nana gave them the blessing.
Shout out to Nana.
Right. She says that in the book, R. Kelly comes to the house and
she getting that check.
After R. Kelly finds out how old she is, they have the studio session, everything, comes out. He tells her what she needs to do from here on out, how she will act, how she will live, what she will tell people, how old she is going to be. He lets that all out. And so she goes back home, because people always ask, like, where are these children's mother? Like, where are they? How are they able to stay out this late? So she doesn't have her mom or dad in her life. She says it's only her Nana. R. Kelly comes to the house, explains that he loves her. He's been spending a lot of time with her granddaughter, and that he's not going to touch her until marriage. And he got good talk game. He made it sound really good. Nana gave the blessing. She packed her bag. She moved into the house. But up until then, she didn't know that other women existed. So she gets there and sees it all. Yeah, she sees it all. Mm-hmm. And she said these girls would literally do anything that he told them to do. Meaning that one time she said that he asked the girl to crawl to him and bark. And she did it. And so
that is a Zamunda, girl.
Bark like a dog.
That's all that is.
Right. But it's interesting because all of these women, like she said, they seem to want to be there. And she just felt like she was different because she actually fell in love with him. She said she was lusting for him since the age of 4. She said that
how do you even know anyone at 4?
She said that she was posting his pictures around her room all her life. She's been trying to get into a concert until this very one concert that her and her cousin were able to get front row seats in, and that's the way she made herself noticeable to him. And it
she
went
flashed
from there.
him or something.
They just, I don't know, it didn't specify exactly what she did, but they made themselves known to the point where
themselves known.
Yes, so he was able to reach out. They saw him in the mall. He ended up getting the bodyguard to take his phone number back to her, and she ended up calling him a couple days later, and the rest was history. But she talks about how her love for him kept her going back, but he took her virginity. So I guess that means a lot as well. And eventually later on in the book, she talks about how he got her pregnant, but she had left. She didn't want to be. It was her. He beat her for the first time, and she left. She went home back to her Nana, and she ended up taking a pregnancy test. She wasn't feeling well. Found out she was pregnant. Not too long after that, she hears his voice in the house. He came back to get her. He played the whole nice guy thing, and he locked the door, and they end up having sex at that moment. And he
in Nana's house?
Yes. Nana actually, he said that Nana went out to the grocery store or something, and she was going to come back.
How convenient.
So they did all of that, and he made her feel.
Nana,
yeah, it's like
$1,000.
It's like a mental. It's like a mental
groceries.
control because he made her feel special again. He made her feel like he loved her, and that's what pushed her back into it. And as soon as they got back to the suite that he had her staying in, he beat her senseless, and she said she could feel the baby dying, like, and he didn't know that the baby existed. So eventually he finds out, because he would not take her to the doctor. She had gotten beaten so bad that the only way she was going to stay alive, he had a what is it called, an in-home doctor. He had one, and he was like, she has to go to the hospital or she won't live. They went back and forth, and the in-home doctor went against R. Kelly's wishes and took her to the hospital. Found out about the miscarriage, him beating the baby out of her, all of those different things. And they end up drugging her again. She woke up. That's when she woke up in the room, handcuffed to the bed, those type of things. And she had to find a way to get out of there. She realized at that point that enough was enough. And there's a chapter that says, I think it's like, when a woman is fed up or something like that. So she eventually got fed up. So I think at this point she's no more than 19, 20 at this point. So she's been with him since she was 16. And so the part that really got me was when she finally gets away, she gets back home. She's knocking on the door. Nobody answers. So she finally finds a way to get inside because she remembers that her Nana kept a key in the back. And there's an envelope on the table. The envelope is a will from her Nana. Her Nana died in the midst of her being gone, and she gave her the house, the car, money, all of those things. And come to find out, the lawyer was calling R. Kelly, trying to get in contact with her. So he knew this entire time that his mom, that her Nana died, and that about the funeral, all of those different things, and he didn't let her know. And so at the end, she just talks about, how could you say that you loved me, or how could a man love me if he didn't even value me enough to, want to take me to the hospital when I almost died. Oh, and he gave her herpes. I forgot.
Kelly has herpes.
Yes.
Right.
Gave her herpes.
For those of you who are still lusting after R. Kelly.
Right. So in a sense, the thing that I would really want to talk about is just like, one, how do you guys feel as like, adults, and thinking about like, if you had a 16-year-old daughter, how would you feel about all of this going on, or would you allow?
For
the most part though, like, she didn't
go get my gun.
She didn't let her nana know any of this. She didn't plan on telling her until that last time she went home. She was going to tell her nana everything, but her nana had passed away. So I'm just interested to know, like, after all the scandal, how would a parent allow their daughter to go live with a man that old and not really know what's going on, or you're not able to be in contact with her? Like, how do you guys feel about the whole situation in general?
Well, I just want to jump in and say, there's, again, everything I come from a church perspective. I know from firsthand experience the spirit of manipulation, and it's powerful. The spirit of so you can feel guilty. You can feel like, how can I be so stupid, or why would I lie? The spirit of manipulation is powerful. Manipulators are manipulators for a reason. I had a friend. God knows this is interesting. We're doing this on the radio. I had a young lady that I had dated, and we had broken up, and she got with a guy that I don't have enemies, but was kind of an enemy for me.
Frenemies.
At the intersection, right?
Yeah.
And she was in school, and they started dating, and I knew he dated her because I still had feelings for her, and he literally kidnapped her from school, took her on a weekend, and would not let her return to school. She actually failed that semester because she missed too many classes because he kept her, and he physically, assaulted. And I knew, as she was, telling me the story later, I really wanted to go and lay some hands, amen, give him the right hand of fellowship. But the three of us got on the phone, and I'll never forget this experience, because he had told her some things that I had been talking trash about her, and I was still kind of lightweight in love with this girl. So I was like, of course he's lying. So I said, well, he was like, well, let's get all three of us on the phone. I'm like, you want to get me, you, and her on the phone together? You're lying. You're like, let's do it. No, let's do it. This dude was so good. Talking about the spirit of middle. He had me when I got off that phone. I was like,
I'll marry if you're really a prince.
I
mean, he was. So I say that to say, when we're talking about spiritual warfare, we're talking about demons. These things are not playthings. These things are powerful, and we have to pray over our children. This is not about good parenting or bad parenting. This is about spiritual warfare. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, spiritual wickedness in high places. We got to understand what we're wrestling against, and you can't protect your children from everything.
That's true.
They're going to get exposed to things, but you can pray over them, because the Holy Spirit can go with them, and things that were assigned to attack them not prosper.
One of the questions that I've always had is just like, how exactly can you stop these type of things from happening moving forward? Because it's almost like, even with this situation specifically, it's not like you could really tell, like, there's not any warning things that you could really say besides, like self-worth and self-love, but there's nothing you can say like, okay, he's not really a stranger. Like, he's a stranger, but he's a celebrity. So it's a little bit different. So it's almost like a little scary just to see how things happen, and then to find out on the Surviving R. Kelly that he was actually molested by his older sister from the age of 7 until he was about 14. So it's crazy how, like, your brain works, because all he saw sexually was control. Right. His sister was controlling him, and that's what he saw. So it's almost like like during those young years, what you learn is very prevalent to how you are when you get older. And so it really goes to show how much attention parents need to pay to your children during those younger years, because you never know what hurt they're going through that's going to push them into who they're going to be as an adult. And I feel like once you get to an adult, it's a lot harder to push through all of that trauma. It's just interesting, and I'm really curious to know, like, what is a way to, bring awareness to stop it.
We're actually going to go to break, and then when we come back from break, we'll address that question. I know that you probably have some things to say because you've been through some stuff and seen some stuff, so you might be able to relate on a certain level based upon the previous testimonies that you've shared with us.
Definitely.
So I want you to be able to chime in on what it is that we're talking about. Family don't go anywhere. This is serious, and it's something that you need to hear, get into your spirit, and be able to apply to your everyday life. You're tuned into the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community.
See, I kept it low like you did.
Wait, should we be saying the voice of the community? I always feel awkward when you guys say that.
I don't know.
Yes, you should be.
You're tuned. So say it again. You're tuned into it now.
WDRB Media.
The